There is a little difference, a teeny tiny difference between a cake and this butter enriched bread. And I got to know about this when I had a taste of this bread called Kugelhopf. Hello everyone, my name is Zonya from Bakery Tasties and I'm here to show you how to make this. You can check the caption for the full recipe while we get baking. Combine your milk and yeast. You don't have to fully dissolve it. Then you can add your eggs and whisk vigorously. Set aside and pull out your bowl of flour. Pour in your granulated sugar and mix till blended. Click on the subscribe button to get a notification whenever a new video is posted. At this point, you can make a well at the center of your bowl, and then you can add your milk, yeast, mixture into the dry ingredients. Do scrape whatever yeast that has settled at the bottom of your bowl into the mixture. I advise that you use an electric mixer with a dough hook. You know, the first time I made this recipe, I used my hands because I like to feel the dough against my hands when I make bread. But it affected this dough in such a way that the butter melted because my hands were too warm. So I advise you to use an electric mixer, please. It is very important. Always scrape the sides of your bowl to get in whatever dry ingredients that might have settled underneath your bowl. You can see what it looks like in mine. You know, most of the times when you're pouring your wet ingredients, it doesn't get to the bottom of the bowl, and this creates room for lumps of flour or dry ingredients underneath your bowl. So please always scrape. Now, this is the time to develop your gluten. So I advise that even before you start adding your butter, you should mix this dough thoroughly until it becomes very stretchy, just like this. Now, at this point, I have to add my butter. I added my butter in 3 batches, and I advise that you do so. Now, if you add all the butter all at once, it's going to cause your dough to be soupy because it's going to overpower whatever gluten that you already developed in your dough. Now, this is the last bit of the butter, which is like the 3rd time I'm adding the butter. So I gently mix it in, and you can see that even right now that the dough is getting all soupy. But not to worry, you need a lot of patience to make this bread. So now it's time for the fun part. You know how much I love fun, don't you? Now we have to use our conditioned fruits. I will be posting how I conditioned my fruit on my Instagram page. So if you're not yet following me, kindly go to Instagram and search for Bakery Tasties to get tips about baking. I had to bring the camera up close because the view was so mesmerizing. I didn't want to share alone. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I noticed at this stage that the electric mixer wasn't yielding so much fruit, so I had to switch to my spatula. And you can notice that even the fruit is yet to get to the bottom of the dough. I advise you roll your dough into a ball for a uniform rise. So you can place the dough in a lightly floured surface and tucking the excesses into the middle of the dough to form a ball. It's not so difficult. You can do it just like I'm doing it now. At this stage, you can flip the dough since they've all come into one, and rotate it clockwise or anti-clockwise to form the ball. Place it in a bowl, cover it, and keep it in a warm place until it's doubled in size. I left mine for 2 to 3 hours, and look what I made. Punch down to release all the air trapped in the dough. Place it on your workspace, cover and rest for about 15 minutes. Now, if you don't rest your dough, you risk overstressing your dough, which will make your dough really stretchy. I doubled the recipe in the caption, so I'll be dividing the dough so that I can place it on the 2 pans that I will be baking with. At this point, you need to round your dough exactly the same way I taught you, pulling the excesses into the middle, flip it and roll it either clockwise or anti-clockwise to form a ball. A Kugelhopf is not complete if not made in a fluted pan. So you can make an indentation with your thumb and gently stretch it until it fits into the tube of the pan you'll be using. Now this is what a fluted pan looks like. Yeah, and you can see how it fits in perfectly. Repeat the same steps that I use here for the second pan. That is, if you're making two pans just like I am. Cover them and let them proof until it has achieved at least a 70% rise, not 100%, because when you place it inside a hot oven, it's still going to rise, and the last thing you want is for your bread or your dough to overproof. Bake for 45 minutes to 50 minutes or until the bread sounds hollow when you tap. Cool in your pan for about 30 minutes so your bread does not lose its structure. Just for my extra, I had to brush the bread with my orange marmalade to get this shiny, sticky feeling for my pictures, and you can tell it really looks nice. Let me hear what you think about this recipe and tell me how your bread turned out. This is just a little behind the scene of how I took my food photography and posted on my Instagram page. I hope you really enjoyed this video. Do comment, do share, do tell your friends till we meet again. Thank you.